Hey everyone, Alicia from Budget with Alicia here. I wanted to do a quick little video where we go over kind of what my 2021 goals were and whether or not I met them or they changed or kind of what happened with them. I do have a sheet that I fill out every year for the new year with the goals that I set for myself. Now, of course, as everyone knows, sometimes goals change, things change. So some of them were not completed or for a certain reason, and some were actually things that just unfortunately didn't get accomplished. And then I want to talk about some savings goals that I'm going to be implementing in the new year and some of my goals. I haven't figured out my full 2022 financial goals yet, but I do have some things that I want to talk about while we're already here with each other talking. So my first goal for 2021 was to save $10,000 for a new car. So this one did not get completed, and there is a reason why. I believe I had about $2,000 to $3,000 saved back in March to go towards a car, and then I had an opportunity to buy a car that it's an older vehicle, but that my great uncle and aunt were selling. So because of that, I decided to upgrade to that newer one. It was 3 or 4 years newer than my current car that I had before. So I paid $2,000 for that car and then paid a little bit more for upkeep and stuff throughout the year. So I have not been saving for a new car since I just got one. I will probably start in 2022 saving slowly towards a new vehicle because obviously my current vehicle will not last forever. It is an older car. It's a 2006 Buick, I believe it is. So it will eventually need to be replaced. So because of that, I have, I do plan on starting a new car savings at some point in 2022 to save for that inevitable time whenever that comes. But I hope to keep my car for the next few years. It does have low kilometers, even though it's an older vehicle, and it was owned by an older lady who bought it new. So it, it's been well maintained. Even though it's an older car. My second, oh my gosh, let me get this sheet here. I can't see. Sorry, guys. Okay, so the second one was to track expenses and spend more intently. I have tracked my expenses. Things did kind of go completely berserk back in mid-October because things got crazy in my life. So I am going to have to pre-plan better for next year. As some of you guys know, I did start an Etsy back in March where I sell different bookmarks and stuff on there. So it was a slow process. It didn't really get a ton of sales or anything. And then in October, it blew up. So I've never done a holiday season as a small business owner. So things got crazy. It's just me. I work a full-time job. So I was working pretty much from 6 to 12 every single night and 12 to 14 hours every weekend, both days. So it has been crazy. So the tracking for November and December definitely did not get completed very well, but earlier in the year, I did a very good job of that. The next thing was to make sure to put money in the highest priority thing first, which I definitely did do. I did finish my dental goal, which we'll talk about down at the bottom because I see it there, but I did finish that, and I definitely did prioritize the more important sinking funds and more important financial goals over the other things. There was definitely some more spending happening in 2021 that I would like to limit for 2022. I definitely did kind of fall off the wagon. I wouldn't say that I fell off the wagon because I still met most of my financial goals and did well, but I would have done even better if some of those things hadn't happened, if that makes sense. The next one is to try to spend as little as I can from my sinking funds and limit unnecessary spending. So this one I kind of did fail. I did still keep quite a bit in my sinking funds. My sinking funds are really nice and full, and I will be filming. I'm not sure if this video or the one I'm filming after this is going up first. So if I have already filmed it and posted it, then I will link it down below. But that is me filling up my sinking funds with my bonus and vacation payout money. So we do we're going to have a huge beef up for the new year, which is awesome. I'm going to be done some of them for 2022 before 2022 even starts, which is so exciting, which means that I can then prioritize other things. But as we all know, those who do sinking funds, we do have sinking funds that are more important and more prioritized to us. Everybody has different ones, but for example, like my wisdom teeth fund, and just like car maintenance and stuff like that, there are more emergency things where you really do need to make sure you prioritize them, whereas things like beauty or self-care or whatever, like those things are important, but they don't need to be put as much money and most focus on, if that makes sense. So sometimes some of those funds are like, I want to make sure the birthdays are done and that kind of stuff. So sometimes other ones get, you know, not funded. As you guys know, if you've watched my videos, I do not fund all of my sinking funds every single time that I get paid. In fact, I usually only do a handful of them, and that's why I have done prioritizing. But I do want to try in 2022 to spend as little as possible again this year. I know that some stuff will obviously be spent. Money is always spent. But I do want to limit as much overspending and unnecessary spending as I can. I definitely, since being debt-free, have spent more money than I need to, because I think once I was debt-free, I just felt like, well, I didn't need to do it, but keeping your financial goals is super important all the time, not just when you're trying to pay off debt. So I got to get myself back on track with that for sure. The next one is to stay motivated by creating new savings challenges. I didn't do a lot of savings challenges in 2021, to be honest. So I would say that that probably didn't happen. I did still save all my change. I did still do my bi-weekly envelopes, which I'll be doing again in 2022. If you haven't watched that video already, I did open them all and add them up. So make sure to go check that out. I'll link it down below as well. But I did do that challenge. But I didn't really make any new challenges throughout the year. So that I probably should have done. I am implementing a few more challenges in 2022, which we will talk about as soon as I'm done going over everything for 2021. My next one was to get a second job or come up with another way to make additional income, which I did do. I did start an Etsy. I technically did start 2 Etsys. I do have a few printable budget sheets and stuff for budgeting. I will link both my Etsy stores down below. So one of them is for budgeting purposes, and then one is a bookmark purposes. So I will link them both down below if you guys are interested in either of them. But I did technically start 2. My budgeting one hasn't made a ton of money yet at this point, but my bookmark one has been super successful, so I'm so grateful. So anybody, if anyone's watching this that happened to support my other business, thank you so much. Sorry. My next one is increase retirement contribution to $3,000 in 2021. I honestly am not sure how much I put in it this year. I put $125 bi-weekly, but I can't tell you how much that is. But I can't math right now. But I am putting a contribution of like just over $2,000, a lump sum. It technically probably won't go through until 2022, but it's from stuff from 2021. I am putting everything that I put in that I saved in my envelopes into my retirement. So I will definitely be over 3,000. I'm just not sure how much has already been put in, but I think I'm probably closer to 4,000 for this year, which is super exciting. My next one is to begin saving towards a down payment on a home. I did not start doing that yet, but I do want to do that in 2022. Continue to share my journey on Instagram and YouTube. I did do that. I definitely slacked a lot in November and December because I was just way too busy to come up with content and film and find time to do those things. And I prioritized getting orders out to people as fast as possible with my Etsy shop. And I think that that probably was the better thing to do. I definitely want to prioritize and make sure that things get put in the mail and processed as quickly as possible for people, especially when people are waiting for them to get there by a certain date, because a lot of them would be getting them for holidays and stuff, especially with Christmas and everything. So because of that, I wanted to ensure that those things got out first. So I definitely did do pretty good for doing that for the for about 10 months of the year, and then a couple months were a little bit delayed. But we'll have to kind of try and figure out a better system for that next year, because probably the same thing's going to happen. Next is to save for the wisdom teeth operation so I can pay for it in full. So I did save $3,000. I'm so excited about this, actually. I don't think I've really talked about it in a video yet, because it happened, I think, right as everything was happening with my Etsy. But I did finish my $3,000 goal for my teeth. As much as I don't want to actually have to use it ever, I want it to be there in case they do start to hurt. One of them is starting to come in, and they do want me to remove all 4. So I'm waiting at this point until I feel more comfortable doing it. I have like really bad anxiety when it comes to medical stuff, so I really don't want to do it. But I also didn't want to be put in the position where they started to hurt and I had to put them, and then I had to take it from my emergency fund. I wanted to make sure I had the money. So at this point, I'm not going to be using it. I'm just going to leave the money where it is. But at some point, I will probably get my wisdom teeth out. Okay, so that is all the goals I had for 2021. So I think that I did relatively well. I definitely wasn't perfect. But I think as long as you are contributing to your goals and prioritizing things and doing the best you can, that's all you can expect from yourself. You do want to push yourself, but you don't want to discourage yourself. So there is a very thin line between feeling bad about what you accomplished because it wasn't quite as much as you think you could have, and just being happy with what you did accomplish. So anybody who is looking to budget in the new year, get things on track, definitely remember that this has been a learning curve for me and for everybody who does this type of journey. Like, I started 2.5 years ago in July of 2019, and I'm so glad that I did. I was debt free within a year, and then continued on from there with savings goals and stuff. So I'm super like excited and happy that I've done what I've done. I know that I could have done better if Taylor Swift wasn't doing a re-recording frenzy. That's partially where a lot of that money went, but I'm not mad about it honestly at all, so it's fine. I am glad that I am debt free and everything while we're going through all of this, and that my finances are in order, because I feel like I'd be super sad if the re-recordings were happening while I was still in debt and feeling like overwhelmed and not having the money to do so. So I do feel free in that way, but I just continue to save, just like a sinking fund, or it is a sinking fund, for those things. So that is that. So for the 2022, we're in 2022 or about to be, I have 4 savings challenges that I'm going to be doing this year. And then I have a couple of other things that I want to mention. So a big goal for me is going to be to start saving for a down payment on a house. I'm not sure on the exact amount yet. I'm still kind of fiddling with my exact goals for what I want to accomplish, but I would really like to start at least. I will more than likely, I have a savings account that has all the money in it that I made from my Etsy. I didn't take anything out of it for myself other than just stuff to pay for shipping and materials and that kind of stuff. That's all I removed from it. I didn't take anything as an income. So once my taxes are done in the new year, I will probably take whatever I made after paying my taxes and everything. I will probably take that amount out, or at least the majority of it. I may buy myself something like a bigger item for the business or whatever if needed, or new products or whatever. But for the most part, I'm probably going to take the majority of it out and put that in a down payment fund. So that mixed with monthly contributions should help us get to a certain goal, but I'm just not sure really how much I'm hoping to achieve in 2022 for that goal. The next thing I wanted to mention was that I'm hoping to kind of limit the amount of sinking funds that I put money into. I have so many. Okay, I have 3 books of sinking funds. These are brand new. I'm so excited because my friend helped me put lamination or labels and everything on these. I've never had ones like this before. So I'm super excited for that. But I do want to try and put more money into down payment and retirement and less money into my sinking funds. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I don't know. I'm always like really on the fence about it because part of me loves to put money in my sinking funds. I love it. I love doing it because one, it gets content for you guys. Two, it's so much fun and it's so nice to see all the money growing and everything. But a lot of the sinking funds are not huge priorities. So when I put money into those things that don't really need to have money in them, just to have content, and well, I mean, obviously I do need the money, like, don't get me wrong on that, but like, I think it does in some ways take away from the money that could be put towards like a down payment on a house. But I don't want to take the money for down payment and put it in cash because I already have so much money in cash that I don't want to be saving like thousands of dollars in a sinking fund, if that makes sense, in cash. So I think it will have to be electronic. And so that's not quite as fun for content. Like, you know what I mean? So I definitely will still be stuffing my sinking funds, but don't be surprised if it's more, like, if it's less of them. I definitely will still prioritize some. But the other thing about that is that quite a few of them are going to be done before the year even starts, which is super exciting. So I'll be able to start on some different goals and maybe some fun goals. I do also want to start saving for a trip of some kind. I've never been really on a trip. I went on 2 family vacations out of province to the US. I went to Florida and I went to Myrtle Beach, but I would really love to be able to do some kind of traveling of some kind once the pandemic ends. So I do want to start saving for that, and then I want to start saving for a down payment. I have so many things to save for, apparently. The saving never ends. But yeah, so other than those couple of things, I obviously still want to show my journey on Instagram and YouTube. I want to come up with some other content and video ideas. So if you have any ideas of other things you'd like to see from me, please let me know down below. And then other than that, we're going to be doing our savings challenges. So the first one is still going to be the change. This is all the change that was left over that didn't fit, that weren't a full roll. So I just put it back in here. So we're putting all of it into this jar this year, everything together, not doing them separately. And I'm going to be opening them at the end of every year from now on instead of keeping it until they're full. The reason for that is because this one can be opened and reused. My other cans, I couldn't reuse them. And they got absolutely destroyed in the process of me trying to open them because the can opener did not work. So because of that, and not being able to reuse them, that's why I wanted to fill them all the way to the top before I opened them. But this year, I'm just going to be doing it year by year and then just taking the lid off and counting it and then starting again so that I can keep track of how much is in these each year. And it helps me with my net worth calculation as well at the end of the year, because last year I technically didn't count that because I had no idea what was in it. So there's that. The next challenge that I'm going to be implementing is the same as last year. I haven't made these pretty or anything yet, but there's 26 of them. So one for every pay period. I think this is backwards, isn't it, for you guys? Anyway, one for every pay period. I'm going to put a slip of paper in them with an amount to put in them, just like last year. And then I will be putting half of whatever I get from my leftover from my cash envelopes, just the same as last year. So this one is exactly the same, but you guys can follow along with me if you'd like to. Just get 26 little envelopes, number them 1 to 26, or you can put like January paycheck 1, January paycheck 2, like I did last year, but this time I'm just doing like 1 to 26. I think I might put some stickers or something on them though, and just put like different increments of money inside of them. And then you'll know what you can save each pay period for that. I'm also going to be doing a small $500 savings challenge envelope that I'm going to be implementing to try and keep myself on track with savings challenges. The other point of that is that usually with the saving challenges, they end up going like to retirement and that kind of thing, which is better for you know, the long run over the sinking funds, and it shows things that I'm allowed to do for you guys and show you guys and do it along with you guys, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to be implementing a challenge for each month. So there's 12 big envelopes here. These will not all be like a money challenge necessarily. They will be finance related, but they may not have money end up inside the envelope, if that makes sense. So something could be like no spend January, sell 3 items on Marketplace, like things like that help you stay motivated, do different things. I have not made them yet, but I'm going to be showing you guys what the challenge is each month on my Instagram. So make sure to go follow me on Instagram, and you guys can follow along with me and do the challenges with me if you'd like to. But those are pretty much everything that I'm going to be doing. That's the challenges, and that's kind of what we're thinking. I'm definitely going to be implementing a couple other savings goals, but I will let you guys know what those are in a future video. I just haven't fully grasped like what I want to do exactly yet. But I want to keep myself more motivated, which is why I'm implementing a couple of extra savings challenges, which I'm super excited about. But let me know down below what your guys' savings challenges or biggest finance goal or whatever is for 2022. I also want to preface this by saying if you are paying off debt, you probably want to limit the amount of savings challenges and sinking funds you do implement. That's just a thing that I have noticed over time with my own budget, is that the more money you have for savings and sinking funds and the more you allocate to those things, the less you have for paying off debt. If you want to use a savings challenge as a way to pay off debt, like you're going to save, like do this challenge, let's just say this $500, then you're going to put it on your debt, then that's one thing. But if you're planning on saving instead of paying off debt, I would maybe think about more going the other direction, but it's totally up to you. Saving is important as well, especially depending on your situation, what you're looking to do with your finances. But yeah, so we made it to 2022. Hopefully 2021 was a good finance year for you guys. And if not, then we can make 2022 a better finance year for you guys. Okay? Bye, guys.